I want to bring in my pals, Rachel Maddow, Nicole Wallace, and Lawrence O'Donnell. It's exactly like the specials, except I can't ask Maddow for cocktail tips when she's trying to write 8,000 words of copy. And I'm like, well, could you just tell me one thing about the cocktails? No, I have to write this copy. Thank you all for being here. Let's talk about this, because I wanted you guys to be here with me, because you are my comrades in arms in covering this insane moment that we're in when it comes to what is happening in our country. I want to start with you, Rachel. I would love for you to give our audience just your take, your tips. What do you think people can be doing right now that's effective?
Well, first I want to say that I love you, Joy.
I love you.
And that I am bereft that the readout is ending. I just can't even, I sort of can't get beyond that. So I want to say that, but that is also part of what I think I have to say to the country about this moment, which is find people who you respect and trust and love and make common cause with them and help yourself by learning from them and help them by standing up for them. And I think we have tried to do that. And I think that in important ways we have failed, but I think it's still the right thing to try to do. And so whether that means, joining something locally, or whether that means making some sort of more unofficial common cause with the people in your life who you respect and who you think are people you can depend on, like I feel about you, you got to join forces. We can, none of us can do this alone. And being atomized and dislocated and picked off one by one is a strategy of the other side, and we need to stick together.
Indeed. And when you're hearing Rachel say that, know that no one fights for us harder in this company than Rachel Maddow. And when I tell you she is our fearless leader, we mean it. And she is our super friend. We love her so much. And let me go to my other, speaking of super friends, when y'all watch on the special, the person that says exactly what I was going to say, making me have to think of a whole different thing to say, because she thinks she's like so brilliant. But I'm just literally so in awe of just your history, your ability, your political acumen. Nicole Wallace, my good sister, tell me what you, in your brilliant self, believe people can do.
Well, I'm going to break the rules the way Rachel broke the rules and tell you that I love you, that the happiest times I've had, not just at MSNBC, but ever being on television, have been sitting next to the two of you. No offense, Lawrence. We love having you there, too.
We love Lawrence.
And that I think that I thought that things like that on TV couldn't be real, but that the friendships that have sustained me have been with both of you. And I am, it's like losing a limb, the thought of doing those nights without you. Your strength and your fearlessness is the answer to the question I think you're getting at with both of us. And I think that my reaction to the end of the readout and your departure is despair. And the only thing that chips away at that for me is that despair is the autocrat's tool. It's their most effective weapon. It costs nothing. It's easy to deploy. It's contagious. And then it puts in motion all the actions they want: hopelessness, isolation, exasperation, giving up. Yeah. And so the only reason I will not wallow in what I feel about you leaving is because I think that's what they want. And so I don't think there can be artificial joy and gaslighting about sort of breaking up the pro-democracy side. I think it has to be, I think we have to be real with ourselves and with each other. But I do think I'm so intrigued and I feel the stirrings in everything you've been covering tonight. The answer to this moment is not going to come from a perfect ad being cut by a brilliant ad maker and put on the air for the perfect candidate that comes out of a lab. It's just, that's not how we're going to save ourselves. And I think waiting for someone to save us is kind of how we got here. We have to save ourselves. We as a country have to decide that Elon Musk getting, I don't even know what the word is. He's already the richest person in the world, richer than the richest person, to ever exist. I don't even know what the goal is. But I think that turning this over to the country and saying, you may think this is what you wanted, but this is not who we are.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. And I think people are getting there. And Lawrence, I want to bring you in because, and again, I keep going back to the special because, like, literally it's like a little party. We're like a girl group, but we let one guy or two hang around. Hayes gets to hang around, but we love our Lawrence. Lawrence is literally the guy that we're all sitting there waiting. What in the world is Lawrence going to say? Because we're going to be like, that's it. We got it. We understand it. So do that for us now, Lawrence. Just solve all of these democracy problems for us now. 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, this is the greatest honor lineup I've ever been in. So let me just start with that. An honor to be in this lineup. And Joy, I'm going to skip the love stuff because we did that on Saturday.
It's true.
You know, I put it in writing in that first text when I said I love you. Okay, so you have that. And writing's forever, so you have it.
Y'all don't realize we literally text and call each other. Like, it's really wild. But anyway, please, Lawrence, please continue.
So I want to turn to this wonderful book by Joy-Ann Reid.
Oh, no.
Medgar and Merley. No, seriously, this is important, and it's to the answer of what we're talking about here. Because, you know, right in the middle of it, on page 194, there is this. This is the decisive battleground for America. Now, that really feels like something someone said 5 minutes ago or any time in this year. That's 1964. That's a 24-year-old guy named Michael Schwerner who is going to be murdered that year after he says that, because he has decided in 1964 that what he's going to do is leave the safety of his home in the North and go to Mississippi, the most dangerous place in America, and go down there as a civil rights worker trying to help people register to vote. That was his choice. There were other people who couldn't do that, people his age, who never leaving their neighborhoods or their towns in the North and elsewhere around the country, tried to fight the same fight, tried to do what they could do. There were people who decided that what they would do is vote, that they were on the side of the righteous, but all they could do is vote. But every one of those people made some kind of decision in the face of something that was hopeless. It looked hopeless in 1964. It looked in 1964 that if you think you're going to work to get black people the right to vote in Mississippi, you are going to be dead and no one's going to get the right to vote. And in the end, he won. He won in death. He won from the grave. And that choice is there for everybody all the time. And there's another thing that comes to mind, Joy, and I'll shut up, and that is Walter Lippmann, when he went to his 30th Harvard class anniversary, which I know is a distant thing for you. Your Harvard class, your 30th reunion isn't coming for a long time. But Lippmann said to his Harvard class in 1940, before the United States is into World War II, but World War II is underway, that they now had no choice. There was no choice. They couldn't take anything for granted. They had to join this fight against fascism. They had to join it because there was no way you could sit back and choose to do nothing. He didn't tell them what to do. He didn't say you should join the army or anything. He just said, you absolutely must now be committed with every bit of strength you have, again, against something that seemed hopeless. I mean, Germany was just raging across Europe then. Mm-hmm. It looks like there was going to be a winner, and it was going to be Hitler. And so these dark hours have demanded things of people that they have risen to in the past, and there's no reason why people can't find their own spot. Michael Schwerner didn't join a political campaign. He didn't need a leader to tell him what to do. He just did it. He just got on that bus and he went to Mississippi. He just did it. And everyone can just do it.
Yeah, amen. And Rachel, I mean, that is so powerful because, I like to steal good ideas and I give people credit for them, but you're the one who said history is here to help. I mean, it just actually is, and you and I are both obsessed with the 1920s and 30s. I'm very obsessed with them, and the 20s especially now because it feels very resonant to today. But I think part of the thing of history is it kind of makes people feel a little dejected because we keep repeating it. And so I think the question is, what is the thing that puts a pin in history so that we don't? So I wonder how we use that history, that brilliant history we just heard from Lawrence, but not let that make us feel like, what's the point? Because we're just going to do it again.
Well, it cuts both ways, right? Because the severity of what our predecessors have been up against in the past can be disheartening, because you can think, like, why does this stuff keep coming back? Why do we never defeat these things? But the other way to look at it is to think, wow, our predecessors have a lot to teach us about how to defeat these things, about how to defeat, one of the things that you and I have talked about a lot in the past year or two, Joy, is the way that we defeated the fascist movement here in the United States that wanted us not only not to join World War II, but if we were going to join on the side of the Nazis. We've talked a lot, you and I, especially around your book, Medgar and Murley, we've talked about the strategy and the human strength that it took to build a movement to defeat segregationism. And that itself was a movement. That was a minority movement that was fascistic in nature, and that absolutely succeeded in ruling whole parts of the country until it was defeated by an equal by a larger and smarter movement that took it down. The people who went before us in this country, who have defeated forces that were a lot more impressive than what we're up against right now, have stories to tell us about what to do. And that's why you are interested in history. That's why we've all been covering so much history on all of our shows. It's not just because the bad guys recur, it's because the good guys, who are never as famous as the bad guys.
Amen.
The good guys, they have stories to tell us about what to do, and we need to stay loud. We need to stay united. We need to protect the press. We need to protect the institutions that we've still got, as they are under assault right now. But it starts with joining something. It starts with finding people who you believe in, who inspire you, and who you love and trust. And that can be your colleagues at work, like we have. It can be your local Indivisible group. It can be your local book club. It can be anything. But now is not the time to be alone and scrolling on your phone, or complaining on social media. Now is the time to join something in real life.